One rule kept the universe safe. Don't wake the humans. They broke it. The forbidden planet. In the deep silence of space, many alien empires lived in peace. They followed one ancient rule, one law passed from generation to generation. Never wake the humans. No one really knew why. The rule was never explained. It was just accepted, like gravity or light. Old stories said the humans were once powerful, maybe even dangerous. Some believed they were protectors. Others thought they were monsters in disguise. But the truth was lost long ago. Earth, the home of humans, was hidden. A strange energy field surrounded the planet. It blocked all signals. No one could enter. No one could leave. It was like a cage, and inside, the legend slept. For a long time, no one dared to break the rule. Until now. The new empire called the Zorans was young and proud. They had strong ships, fast weapons, and a hunger for answers. Their leader, General Rax, didn't believe in old stories. "Fear is for the weak," he said. "We are the future. We will uncover the past." He sent a small team to Earth, a scout ship with 5 explorers. Captain Virex led the team. He was brave but careful. He read the legends. He warned the others. "Earth is not a normal planet," he said. "If the stories are true, we must be ready for anything." The ship broke through the energy field. For a moment, the lights flickered. Systems glitched. Then silence. They had entered Earth's orbit. Below them, Earth looked calm. Green forests, deep oceans, no cities, no lights, only ruins covered by nature. They landed near a mountain where a human city once stood. Now it was buried under trees, vines, and time. The air was clean, the sky blue, but something felt wrong. Too quiet. They explored the ruins. Old buildings stood like skeletons. Strange symbols covered the walls. Machines sat in silence, but some still blinked, still working after thousands of years. "No life signs," said the scanner. "No danger detected." But the team felt eyes watching them. As they moved deeper into the ruins, they found a large metal door. It was half buried in the ground. Captain Virex touched the surface. Suddenly, a voice entered their minds. It was not loud, not angry, but full of power. "You were told not to come." The explorers froze. Their hearts raced. The ship above them disappeared from the radar. "Ship control lost," said the pilot. I don't know where it went." Then the ground shook. A low hum rose from beneath. Machines began to glow. Energy flowed through old cables. Captain Virex looked around. "We triggered something." A shadow moved beneath the floor. Slow, heavy, alive. One of the team members, Lyra, stepped back. Her voice trembled. "Something's down there. It's waking up." Cracks spread through the ground. A loud, deep sound echoed through the ruins, metal grinding against stone. A hand broke through the earth. A massive metal hand, covered in dust and rust. Lights blinked on its surface. Then a second hand. The explorers ran back, but couldn't look away. The ground opened wider. A huge figure began to rise. Not a robot. Not fully alive. Something between both. A human shape, but glowing with energy. Ancient armor fused with unknown technology. Its head turned slowly. One eye opened, bright and blue. It stared directly at them. None of the explorers could speak. Then the voice returned. "Protocol breached. Humanity. Awakening." The machines around them roared to life. Lights shot into the sky. Signals flew across space. Captain Virex tried to call for help. No signal. No response. He looked up. The explorers ran through the ruins, dust and energy swirling around them. The ground behind them had cracked open, and from that deep darkness, something old and powerful had risen. The massive human figure, part machine and part mystery, had stared at them with glowing eyes. Now it had gone still again, standing like a silent guardian. But the air had changed. Earth was no longer quiet. It was alive. Captain Virex ordered his team to find shelter. They entered a broken building covered in vines. Inside, strange machines lined the walls. Most were silent, but one was still glowing. The youngest team member, Darrow, stepped forward. He was curious, always asking questions, always wanting to touch things. Captain Virex warned him, but Darrow's hand was already reaching out. He touched the glowing panel. The machine reacted instantly. A loud hum filled the air. The walls lit up. The floor beneath them shook. A projection appeared in the air, clear, bright, and real. The team stood frozen as the machine showed them human history. First, they saw humans building great cities, towers that touched the clouds. Then they saw ships rising into the stars. The humans expanded fast, creating space colonies and forging alliances. Their technology was unlike anything the aliens had seen. Fast, smart, alive. Then came the wars. Planets burned. Star systems fell. Human ships fought each other and foreign enemies. Explosions lit up the galaxy. The team watched as billions died, and yet the humans continued to grow stronger. Each time they fell, they rose again. Each defeat only made them smarter. The projection changed again. A council of human leaders sat in a great hall. Their faces were tired. Their eyes showed pain. A choice was made. The war had ended, but the cost was too high. The humans would vanish. They would sleep. Earth would become their prison, and the universe would be freed from their power. The projection faded. Silence returned. Lyra whispered, "They chose to disappear, to protect everyone." Zen, the team's engineer, shook his head. Or maybe they were forced to. Maybe others locked them away because they were too powerful. Captain Virex didn't answer. His eyes were on the machine. More lights turned on. The room was responding. Ancient systems were waking up. From deep under Earth's surface, signals were spreading like waves. Far above, old human satellites turned in orbit, their systems blinking after thousands of years. The machine spoke in a calm voice. "Status, humanity rebooting." The words echoed through space. In the far corners of the galaxy, the signal was received. Inside a golden city on a distant planet, the Eldari High Council stood in silence. Their oldest leader dropped his staff. They are waking. On a cold metal world ruled by machines, alarms screamed. Robotic leaders gave the order to activate defenses. In shadowy corners of space, hidden races whispered the same word: humans. The Zoran Empire's capital ship, orbiting near Earth, received the message. General Rax stared at the screen. He was not afraid, but something inside him felt small. "How much time do we have?" he asked. "Unknown," the officer replied, "but something is rising on Earth." Back on the planet, Captain Virex and his team stood among the machines. The energy levels were increasing. They could feel it in their bones. Every step made the ground hum. Every breath tasted like electricity. Darrow looked at the machine he had touched. "It's not just showing us things. It's thinking." Zen stepped closer. "It's part of a network. Maybe part of a mind." "A human mind?" Virex asked. Zen nodded slowly. "Yes. I think the machines are waking up because their master is waking." Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the air. It wasn't from the building. It came from the sky. The explorers ran outside. Above them, the clouds were moving fast. Shapes glowed behind them. Satellites, stations, possibly weapons. A beam of light shot from one mountain to another. Then another. Lines of energy connected across the land. The entire planet was sensing. "The human mind is reconnecting with the machines," Virex said. "It's rebuilding itself." Lyra looked terrified. "What happens when it's complete?" No one answered. From the hole in the ground where the massive human figure had risen, a second figure appeared, smaller, faster, glowing with white light. It ran across the land, touching machines, spreading power. It was not just alive, it was awake. A mind that had waited for thousands of years, now free. Captain Virex whispered, "We didn't wake one human. We woke them all." And somewhere, across the galaxy, old races remembered. They remembered the wars, the power, the fear. They remembered why the rule existed. Never wake the humans. But it was too late. They were waking. The signal had spread. From the deepest black holes to the brightest star cities, every advanced race in the galaxy had received the message. Status: humanity rebooting. Inside the floating halls of the Eldari, a race known for their wisdom and age, a red alarm flashed for the first time in 10,000 years. Their high elder stood before a round table, ancient eyes staring at the warning on the screen. "The humans are waking," he said. The council members looked at each other. No one spoke, even the oldest among them. Those who had never feared war or death now looked afraid. "We must act," said one general. "We must strike before they regain full control." Another counselor shook her head. "That is what they tried last time, and that is how they disappeared." In another part of the galaxy, the Mectari, a race of machines that once fought the humans and lost, were already preparing. They didn't argue. They didn't meet. They simply activated an old protocol. A second team was formed. 5 elite ships, armed with ancient weapons, cloaked from sensors, and faster than light. Their mission was simple: reach Earth, destroy everything. Before it's too late, they arrived at Earth's edge, just beyond the energy field. They didn't speak. They fired. But the Earth had changed. The ancient defense grid, long asleep, suddenly came alive. Dozens of old human satellites moved into position, glowing red. The alien ships barely had time to react. Energy beams cut through the dark. The first ship exploded in silence. The second turned to escape, but was hit mid-turn. The others tried to go dark, hiding behind debris, but the satellites tracked them with perfect accuracy. One by one, the invaders were erased. Earth had protected itself. From the surface, Captain Virex and his team watched the sky light up with fire. Pieces of metal fell like burning stars. Virex didn't smile. He felt no joy. "They're coming," he said. "And they won't stop next time." Zen was focused on his scanner. "Something's changing in the air. The oxygen levels are rising. The pressure is adjusting." Lyra touched a leaf from a nearby tree. "Look at this. It wasn't here yesterday. And now it's growing. Fast." The plants were changing. New trees, stronger and taller, had risen overnight. Vines wrapped around machines, not to destroy them, but to connect them, like they were working together. Even the ruins were different. Old walls had smoothed out. Broken metal had reshaped itself. Earth was healing. "It's like the planet is rebooting too," Darrow said. "Not just the machines, not just the humans, everything." The explorers walked through the ruins in silence. A feeling filled the air, not fear, not peace, but something in between. Power, old and rising. They reached a large open field where a strange structure had appeared overnight. It was not there before. Now it stood tall, silver, and pulsing with energy. Zen scanned it. "There's a power source inside, more than anything we've seen so far." Suddenly, the ground around them shifted. Lights formed a path. A voice echoed through the air, calm and commanding. "Welcome, Unit 001 now online." The voice didn't come from a speaker. It came from everywhere, from the trees, the ground, the machines, even the air itself. Captain Virex looked at his team. "That wasn't a recording," he said. "That was someone speaking. Someone watching." The structure opened. A soft blue glow poured out. The energy inside was not wild or dangerous. It was steady, controlled, intelligent. Zen stepped back. I think that was an eye. A human eye. But not just a normal one. This one's old. Maybe the first. Lyra's eyes widened. Unit 001. The first. Of what? No one knew. But they all understood one thing. Something big was happening. Earth wasn't just waking up. It was preparing. For what? They didn't know. And far above, across the galaxy, more ships were being built. Some for war, some for peace. All waiting. Because the humans were coming back. The ground was silent. The machines were quiet now, watching. The sky above Earth was clear, but every explorer in the team felt the pressure in the air. Something was coming. Something old. Something human. Captain Virex stood near the glowing structure. His scanner picked up a strong life sign. Right in front of them. Then, from the light, a figure stepped out. Tall. Calm. Human. His skin glowed faintly, as if light was under his skin. His eyes were bright blue, focused and steady. His movements were slow, controlled. He wore no armor, no weapon, only a simple suit made of shining black material that looked both ancient and advanced. The team froze. This was it, the first reawakened human. Darrow whispered, "He doesn't look dangerous." But none of them moved. Captain Virex took a slow step forward, holding out his hand. "We don't want war. We came here by mistake. Can we talk?" The human didn't answer. He didn't even look at Virex. He looked up, to the sky. Seconds passed, then minutes. The human closed his eyes. And then, behind the explorers, more figures began to appear. From the forest, from the ruins, from the earth itself. More humans. Each one looked different. Some glowed with blue light, some with green, some with gold. One had metal lines running across his arms. Another had silver eyes that scanned the area like machines. Some looked young. Some looked old. All of them were silent. None of them attacked. But all of them were watching. Lyra stepped back, her voice shaking. "They're not soldiers. They're judges." The explorers were surrounded, but no one raised a hand. The tension grew. The silence became louder than any sound. Captain Virex spoke again. "We know the signal was sent. The galaxy is coming. They're scared. Please, stop the call. You don't have to do this." The first human finally looked at him. His eyes locked with Virex. Then, for the first time, he spoke. "You broke the seal. We are free now." His voice was deep, calm, and final. No anger, no joy, only truth. Behind him, the other humans began to move. Not to fight, not to run, but to awaken more machines, to activate systems buried under the ground. Some walked into the forests and disappeared. Others touched the broken ruins, and the ruins healed. Earth was no longer just waking. It was preparing. High above, the stars began to flicker. A fleet had arrived. Thousands of ships from every part of the galaxy. Some large, some small. All armed, all waiting. The Eldari command ship stood at the center. Inside, the High Elder watched the planet below. He had seen the past. He knew what the humans were capable of. His voice echoed in the command chamber. "Do not fire unless fired upon, but be ready." One of the younger generals argued. "We must act. We cannot risk another human empire." The elder raised his hand. "If we fire first, we may end everything." Down on Earth, the alien explorers could feel the tension building in the air. Zen's scanner was flashing. "Something's moving, under the ocean." The team rushed to the coast. The sea looked normal, calm. But then the waves began to pull back, as if something massive was pushing against the water from below. Then, with a roar of steam and light, the ocean split. A massive object rose from the deep. Metal towers broke the surface. Water poured down its sides. Energy lines glowed across its frame. A ship. but not like any ship the aliens had ever seen. It was dark, sleek, and ancient, covered in symbols, bigger than any warship they had ever built, and armed. Dozens of weapon ports opened as it lifted into the air. The engines hummed with power not seen in 1,000 years. The human ship had returned. The explorers stood frozen, watching it rise into the sky, heading straight toward the approaching fleet. The first human turned to the explorers. "No more chains," he said. "We remember everything." Captain Virex looked to the heavens, knowing that history was about to repeat or be rewritten. The human ship hovered in the sky like a silent warning. It didn't attack, didn't move further. It simply waited, as if calculating the next step. Down below, Captain Virex and his team stood in the shadow of its massive form. The first reawakened human still watched the stars, silent and calm. Around him, more humans had gathered. Each one carried something strange in their presence, a quiet power, a deep memory of something older than any known species. Zen continued scanning them from a distance. His device beeped strangely. Numbers changed faster than he could read. He frowned. "Their biology. It's not natural. It's beyond anything we've seen." Darrow looked at one of the humans. "They don't seem like just people. What are they?" Virex said nothing, but he was wondering the same. Lyra approached with a different scanner, one used for genetic analysis. She pointed it carefully at the closest human. The screen blinked, then froze. A warning appeared. "Data overload. Structure unknown." Zen stepped forward. "Let me try a deeper scan." He connected two devices and focused on the readings. After a few moments, his eyes widened. "They changed themselves," he said. "A long time ago. Their DNA. It's not like anything in the current galaxy. They'd rewrote it." "You mean they evolved?" asked Darrow. Zen shook his head slowly. "No, they engineered it. They made themselves into something new." Captain Virex looked at the glowing veins on the human's arms. "Into what?" Zen answered quietly. "Part machine. Part energy. Part something else." There was silence between them. Even the birds had stopped singing. "They became too powerful," Lyra whispered. "Too advanced for normal life. Too dangerous." Zen nodded. "That's why they went to sleep. Not because they lost. Not because they were forced. They chose it. To protect the galaxy. From themselves." The truth hit hard. The war long ago wasn't about control. It was about fear. Fear of becoming monsters. Fear of destroying everything. Now they were awake. And the universe might not be ready. While the others tried to understand more, one member of the team stood apart. Tarek, the quiet one. He had always listened more than he spoke. He had seen enough of the galaxy's politics to understand how afraid everyone was, and how much hate was being sent toward Earth. He walked slowly toward the first human. The human didn't move. Tarek placed a small cube on the ground and pressed a button. A full hologram of the current galaxy appeared. Planets, trade routes, colonies, war zones, and council locations. It updated in real time, showing every major race, including their fleets. Tarek stepped back. "If you're going to return, then you should know what you're returning to." The human looked at the map. His glowing eyes scanned the data. No reaction, no emotion. Then he said one word. "Understood." The map disappeared. Tarek turned away, not sure if he had done the right thing. But something inside him told him it was better to give truth than to hide it. Above them, the human ship pulsed with new light. Engines that had not burned for thousands of years began to roar. The sky rippled as energy fields surrounded the vessel. Captain Virex's communicator picked up a signal. "Human ship designation. Sol 1. Jump coordinates. Galactic Council Core." "They're going straight to the heart of the galaxy," Lyra said. "To the Council." "To talk?" Darrow asked. "Maybe," Virex replied. "Or maybe to show they're not hiding anymore." The ship turned slowly, its form glowing brighter than the sun. The stars seemed to bend as its engines built power. It was massive, graceful, terrifying. Then, with a flash of light and a ripple in space, the ship vanished. It had jumped. Destination: the Galactic Council. The humans were no longer silent, no longer forgotten. They were moving. The galaxy held its breath. From royal palaces to underground bunkers, every eye was fixed on one place, the center of the universe, where the Galactic Council sat in orbit above the ancient planet of Faer. Around it floated thousands of ships, gathered from every major race. Some came to defend, others to observe, and a few came hoping to destroy. They had all seen the signal. They had all heard the name: humanity. And now they had come. With a flash of bending stars and warped light, the human ship Sol-1 exited its jump. It appeared in perfect silence, just outside the council ring. No weapons active, no shields raised, just a single ship against the might of the galaxy. But no one dared move. Inside the council chamber, 100 alien leaders stood around the central table. Their holograms floated above it, forming a ring of light and tension. The High Elder of the Eldari, the Mechterri Prime Node, the Avaxian Warlord, and others, all watched the screen as Sol-1 hovered calmly in space. "Send warning frequencies," one general said. "Ready all weapons," another whispered. The High Elder raised a hand. "We wait. Let them speak first." And then it happened. A signal came from the human ship. Not a weapon, not an attack. A voice. It echoed across every channel, translated instantly into every known language. Calm, strong, human. "We are not here to destroy, but we will not be controlled." The words were simple, final. No emotion, just truth. Inside Sol-1, the first awakened human stood at the center of the command deck, surrounded by glowing symbols and ancient systems. He didn't touch any controls. The ship was an extension of his mind now. Around them, alien fleets shifted. Some captains held their fire. Others were less patient. On the outer edge of the formation, a small but proud battle fleet from the Gravelon Empire ignored orders. Their war leader, driven by fear and pride, gave the command. Fire. Dozens of plasma lances launched toward the human ship. Missiles, beams, anti-gravity torpedoes, all focused on one point. Sol-1 didn't move. It didn't need to. The moment the weapons touched its outer field, everything stopped. Not just the weapons, the ships themselves. The entire Gravelon fleet froze in space, mid-move, engines still burning. And then, they were gone. No fire, no explosion, no sound, just silence. 1 second they were there. The next, they weren't. Back in the council chamber, leaders stood in shock. What just happened?" asked the Avaxian Warlord. The Mechterri Prime's voice came through in static. No energy spike detected. No known weapon used. Not destruction. Displacement. "They erased them," someone asked. "No," the High Elder said. "They moved them. Somewhere else." The room went quiet. In space, Sol-1 remained still. Then the human voice returned. "We chose sleep to protect the galaxy, but fear has made you dangerous again." The voice grew colder. "We will not allow the chains of control to return. Every race deserves freedom. That is our only law." Panic spread through the fleets. Some ships turned their weapons off. Others powered down engines. Inside the council chamber, voices rose. "Negotiate. Ask for terms." The High Elder stepped forward and spoke directly to the human ship. "We hear you. We accept your law. Let there be peace. Let all races live free." A moment of silence followed. Then came the human's final words. "Let every race be free, or we will return." And with that, Sol-1 turned. No engines flared. No sound broke the air. It simply vanished, jumped again, gone. But the message remained, echoing across the stars, recorded in every system. In the days that followed, changes spread fast. Empires ended their wars. Colonies were freed. Oppressed species began to rise. The Council rewrote its core rules. The legend of the humans was no longer a warning. It was a reminder. Back on Earth, the reawakened humans watched the stars. Some smiled. Others waited. The first human turned to the explorers. This is only the beginning. Earth had changed. It was no longer the silent planet, buried in dust and ruins. The machines, long dormant, had come to life again. They moved swiftly, restoring old cities, rebuilding the broken structures of the past. Streets once lost to time began to gleam with new light. Towers rose from the ground, covered in green vines, stretching toward the sky. The forests grew taller, faster. The rivers ran clean again, and the air felt fresh with the touch of new life. Everywhere, Earth was waking. The alien explorer who had once broken the rules stood on the edge of the city, watching it all. His name was Captain Virex, and now he wore the title of Earth's first ambassador. It was strange. It felt like a dream, yet it was all real. He had seen the power of the humans, and he had felt their message. They were not gods. They were protectors. They were not here to conquer, but to guide. Aliens came from far and wide to learn from Earth, to understand the humans. Some came with fear still in their hearts, unsure of what the humans would do next. But the humans didn't attack. They didn't demand anything. They taught. They shared their knowledge of the universe, their wisdom, and their warnings. The messages they sent were clear. Protect the galaxy, protect the people, but never let power corrupt. There was a balance that had to be kept. They didn't want to rule the galaxy. They didn't need to. They only wanted peace. Yet, despite their teachings, there were many who stayed away. They didn't want to risk injuring the humans, not after the events with the Gravelon fleet. The universe was uncertain about the return of the Guardians. Many feared the humans could one day decide the galaxy wasn't ready for peace. In the deep corners of space, far from Earth, other human ships began to wake. Hidden, sleeping in the forgotten corners of the galaxy, more of them started to stir. Their engines, once cold, came to life again. They began to move, slowly, quietly, across the stars. And in every place they went, they sent a single message. The Guardians have returned. The message spread across the stars, echoing through the systems like a wave of new energy. The universe had been through chaos, wars, suffering, and endless battles. But now things were changing. Peace had a new protector, and whether they were ready for it or not, the universe would have to face the truth. The humans were no longer hidden. They were here, and they had returned to ensure balance was kept. On Earth, the sky had become clear. It was no longer filled with the sounds of battle or the fear of an uncertain future. It was filled with the promise of something new, something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia, a true age of peace. The humans would guide them, but they would not rule. Virex looked out at the horizon as the sun set behind the great city they had rebuilt. He had learned much from the humans, and though he was still an alien to them, he had come to understand that Earth wasn't a place of power. It was a place of healing. The humans had always been more than just fighters. They were guardians. They protected not through force, but through wisdom. A young alien child, no older than 5, stood next to Virex, looking up at the stars. Their large, wide eyes filled with wonder as they stared into the sky, taking in the great changes. Are they heroes or gods? The child asked, their voice full of awe. Virex smiled softly, looking down at the child. He